Okay, so what is Tarisland exactly? Well, it looks to be a return to sort of an old school MMO with tab targeting, a seamless open world, dungeons, raids, all the stuff as MMO players, traditional MMO players, we're used to seeing. And if you take a look at this game, it's a little hard to ignore the inspiration that they are borrowing from. This is a game that is under the Tencent umbrella. We all know that WoW and Blizzard are having some trouble with their licensing in China, and so it might not be that big of a surprise of the timing of Tarisland. But you know what? At this point, I don't really care about MMOs borrowing from each other. I mean, I have a whole video about how WoW has recently borrowed a ton of things from Guild Wars 2, and to be honest, I think WoW's a better game for it. And so WoW's not immune to this, other MMOs are not immune to this. This has been happening since the beginning of time. MMOs borrow from one another and they iterate on systems and they try to make the best game possible. And so I want to see if Tarisland is going to do that. Like I said, I'm very interested to dive in and see everything they have to offer. I've actually been invited to the closed beta happening in just a few days, and so I want to look at this game, get you guys the information and see what I'm in for, and then hopefully get a bunch of footage, even stream on YouTube to really see what this game is about and if it's for us, if it's for me and you guys as MMO fans. So anyway, let's jump in and take a look. Okay, so let's talk about the world of Tarisland. Everything that I've seen so far seems to lead me to believe that it's going to be an open, seamless world. So especially if they're, like I said again, this is going to be a theme, borrowing from the WoW model, I think you're going to have a world where you can seamlessly transition from zone to zone, or maybe even take Zeppelin or a flying machine or a train or a boat to other areas of the world. But for the most part, I think if you can see it, you could probably go there. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's one of the things that we all love about WoW. I know that was, when I look for a game, if it has that, it is a plus. Now, is it necessary for me? No, but I'm really glad that Tarisland is going to have this option. I was a big Arcade fan. The world is one of its strengths. It was really amazing, from the oceans to the, zones in the land. Really cool. But I also am a big fan of games like Guild Wars 2 and Star Wars The Old Republic, which, as you know, are all instanced zones. Every zone is its own instance, and they can have multiple instances. So, I mean, there's definitely pros and cons to both. Let's talk about the graphics next. So if I had to describe it from the trailers, it just looks like an upgraded WoW. And maybe some of these renders, and maybe they're, more like vertical slices out of the game, and maybe they're touching it up a bit more. I'll obviously know more when I get into the beta test, but it seems to be an upgraded version of WoW. Even if it's on par with WoW, I think that's great. I am a fan of stylized graphics. It doesn't bother me. Graphics aren't usually my number one go-to, and so it seems like Tarisland, though, is going down that more stylized, cartoonish style, but those games seem to be timeless, and so I'm happy with it. It looks really beautiful, and it's a world that I want to explore. That's the way I feel about it from the trailers and the footage I've seen so far, and so I think that's a good endorsement of how the game is looking. So I like the way the world looks, the way it feels, the graphical style, the openness of it. It looks great. So that's what we have in store for the world. Talk about classes next. What kind of classes are there going to be? Well, going back to the same thing we've been talking about, it's very WoW influenced. And to be fair, it's more fantasy MMO influenced, you could say. You have your really traditional classes, your warrior, the mage class, they have a paladin, the ranger, and maybe some others I don't think we have all the information on yet. There seems to be some sort of stealth class, but it doesn't look like it's going to be available in the beta, which is a bummer because I like stealthy playstyle, and so I'm kind of bummed that that's not going to be in there in this first beta. Either way, the classes look really good. There's a bard, a barbarian, maybe that has two-handed axes, so kind of your traditional classes. The thing that really I'm not sure about is every time in a trailer, a class is always played by the same type of race. In the trailer, it's represented that way. So I don't 100% know about races. If we're just going on what we see in the trailers, then classes might be race locked, and I'm not sure about that. We'll have to get more info in the beta, of course. And the other big thing is they may even be gender locked. So I'll touch on that in a little bit. I'm hoping, of course, you know, as players, we want as much choice as possible. So I'm hoping we can choose multiple races, whatever gender we would like to play as, with the freedom to do so. But, you know, very traditional on the classes. The races, of course, you have the elves, the humans, some kind of like lion looking race that I'm unsure of. So maybe high elves versus dark elves. It's hard to tell yet, but I think they're going to be all very traditional. So nothing to, you know, write home about, but at the same time, they seem to be done very well. So what about systems in the game? Like I said before, it seems to be very traditional. So there's going to be leveling, of course, with questing, side quests. I'm assuming a main story quest that will accompany each zone as you progress. We don't know if it's going to be a racial quest or a class quest system. That's kind of still to be determined. We'll get more info on that. But definitely, if you're a fan of questing and the journey is what is important to you, I think this is going to check all the boxes for you as a player who likes to level, create alts, all that sort of thing. And especially in a world that looks beautiful. I think it's going to be great. PvE content. I think they're ticking all the boxes again. It looks like they're going to have 5-man dungeons as well as 10-player raids. And I really think this is the sweet spot. If we even go back in time a little to games like WildStar, who are still trying to do the 40-man raids, 20-man raids, I think they just found out that that's not the direction that, you know, MMOs are going and the MMO players want. They want to be able to form groups easily to tackle, you know, that fun, challenging content. Now, they did say that they're going to have the traditional Holy Trinity. I think we're all familiar with that. And, you know, as a boomer myself, I like that setup. It works. You know, why change it if it's not broken? They also seem to have crafting. You know, I've seen what it looks like to be blacksmithing in the trailers, fishing. So I think we'll probably get all the traditional stuff that we want and expect. And then, of course, what about PvP? I am a huge PvP player in all MMOs that I play. We don't have a lot of information. I know we have, I think they're calling them battlegrounds, of course. And so it looks like in the beta, there will be at least one battleground, which looks to be sort of a similar to like a payload type map from Overwatch. So you have to progress a payload across the map. And of course, the enemy is trying to stop you. And so I think that's a cool take for an MMO. If that's the direction they're going to go, I hope they have a really wide and varied amount of battlegrounds, because I'm mainly a battleground player. I love playing battlegrounds with buddies, just jumping in and having fun. I'm assuming they're going to have arenas as well. A ranked leaderboards and ladders is what it looks like to me, some of the information I've seen on the Discord. And so I think you can expect that as well if you're an arena player. I don't know about open world yet. That hasn't really been mentioned, kind of to be determined. I'm going to hopefully see in the closed beta if they have that. I'm assuming we'll have duels. So yeah, the kind of all the standard good stuff we want from PvP. So I'm really excited to check that out in the beta. So let's get into some of the unknowns and maybe even a few of the red flags that I might be seeing with Tarisland, and I'm hoping to get more confirmation in the beta as I get more hands-on time with the game. So the first thing, of course, is monetization. They are making a big claim on their website that there is zero pay to win. And that's what they're wanting us as a Western audience to really focus on. And if you look on the website, even it says no pay to win, but the wording matters and you have to pay attention to what things say. So the way it's worded on the website is that no items with power will be sold in the cash shop. That's good, but that doesn't really rule out pay to win. I think in most of these PvP games, especially from the East, what you'll usually end up happening is you will spend real money to gain the cash shop currency, and then sometimes that currency can be used to buy gold or to exchange for gold in game, and then you would use that gold, of course, to buy crafted gear if it's a game where crafted gear is the best, or to buy upgrade materials for your gear. So just the statement that no items with power are being sold in the cash shop, I don't think that is enough for me. I am still very skeptical on this no pay to win claim that they are making. And I'm not saying that there will be pay to win. I'm just saying it's more of a I need to see it to believe it kind of deal. And will they reveal all their currencies and ways to exchange currencies in the beta? I doubt it. You know, I'm hoping this isn't that type of situation where pay to win creeps in over time. I'm hoping they stick to what they're truly saying, that zero pay to win in this game, a traditional MMO. And so, yeah, we're going to have to monitor the situation. Like I said, I'm skeptical, but I'm willing to wait and see on that. Another small concern, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but this was the gender and race lock aspects of the classes. In 2023, that's something that I don't think any MMO player wants to see in a game. We want full control of the character we make, from, like I said, the gender, the race. We just want that ability. The game is in beta. I'll have to see how polished it is to know, kind of get my prediction on when it's going to launch. My worry is that if the Western audience in the beta is really screaming loud that, hey, we don't like gender locking, we don't like classes that are locked to races, do they have enough time to change that? I mean, that's a lot of modeling work to be done to make sure models can work with all sorts of armors across all sorts of characters and animations. A lot of work has to go into that. So I hope they've left room that they can hear us if we make our voices loud enough in this beta, that there will be no gender lock, no race lock for the class we want to play. This next one I'm putting in sort of a neutral category because I think it could be really good. I also think it could be a negative for the game. And so I want to kind of take a look at both of those. And that is, of course, the cross-platform play that this game is going to share between PC and mobile. In recent news, we've all seen what's happened with Throne and Liberty. Some of the betas were out, people played. You could tell the game was really made for mobile. The lack of movement in the combat, auto pathing, I think it's called auto hunting, where the game plays for you while you're offline. I think these are things as traditional MMO players that we do not want. I don't want that. I want to control my character. I want to know that however much or however little time I'm putting into the game, it's because of me and my progression. I'm really curious to see with Tarisland, can you make a AAA MMO that works like a AAA MMO on PC that we all like, but also plays on mobile? That's really intriguing to me, because yes, would it be cool if I could pick up my phone and do some meaningful things in the MMO that I'm currently playing? Of course, that sounds awesome. But I don't want it to be a mobile game ported to PC, if that makes sense, with mobile game monetization and practices. And so that is the big concern. How will combat feel on the phone? They obviously have what it looks like to be a limited action bar, which I'm assuming you have to do for a game that's on mobile. If done right, I think it's super cool. Let me know in the comments, is there another AAA game that is doing a mobile version as well as a PC version that is really good? I'm just not aware of it. Maybe it's out there and I just don't know. That could go either way in my mind. It could be a really cool thing if it's the PC port is great, or the PC version, and then the mobile version's also great. And how, when you mingle with those two groups of players, does it actually play out in the game? So very intriguing. I really want to hear more and see more, and maybe in the beta I'll get a chance to try the mobile version as well and report back. What I'm really hoping is that Tarisland is going to be really optimized, maybe for handhelds like the Steam Deck or, you know, other handhelds. I think those are coming along in the market and getting really good. And so to be able to take something with you to play on the go, I just think that's really cool. I'm still a lock myself in the office, sit at the PC kind of gamer when it comes to MMOs and most games, but I know some people want that handheld experience, and I know the Steam Deck is really popular. So I'm really curious to see if it's going to be optimized well for those types of systems. Now, here is the thing that I think has the potential to be the greatest selling point of Tarisland. And I say selling point, we don't know the monetization of the game yet. So just maybe the biggest factor to play this game, aside from, of course, the graphics, the classes. If they knock all that stuff out of the park, that's great. but we can get that from a lot of games. So here's what I think could be cool. So Tarisland has mentioned that they're going to bring this seasonal model to the game. And so they're going to have different seasons. I don't know the length yet. I would assume maybe in the range of 3 to 4 months, maybe following like a patch cycle from normal MMOs. So here's what could be cool about the seasonal model. What they claim is that every season, it's kind of a restart. And I don't think they mean like your character is going to restart to 0. I think there's going to be this new patch of content that's coming out, and everyone's going to be at the same page. They're going to maybe make your level reset to the same as everyone else. So they claim that, hey, this is a good thing because a new player who's just got into the game can jump into the seasonal model at the same place that a veteran is, and you can play together. And I think I really like this approach because I don't know about your friend group, but in mine, I have people who dip in and out all the time or play different MMOs. It's cool to be like, hey guys, the new season's coming up in a couple weeks. Let's all plan to jump in together and just check it out, just have some fun. That seems really exciting to me, especially if the game's free to play. This could be a cool model because you could say, hey, me and my friends, we just played a season. Okay, the new season's starting, and they're like, you know what? That season doesn't look that cool, or I need to take a break. I'm just gonna drop out. So you don't have to keep paying a sub. When a season looks cool to you or you want to jump in and play, you just purchase that season and play. So I really loved Dragonflight, and they did a lot of awesome things, but there's still a lot of grind. There's a lot of effort to keep your gear up to speed. And so I want a more casual WoW, a WoW that I can jump into and gear is not as big of a focus. I love Guild Wars 2 for that reason. Gear is not the main focus of the grind or of the game. The content is the main focus. Doing fun things, doing the dungeons, doing the raids, you know, doing the PvP. I think this could be, I don't know, really cool if when the new season comes out, they make it to where the gear discrepancy is really small so that new players can jump in and you can all get caught up and, you know, be on the same level. And it looks like in the seasons, they've mentioned that they're going to have 2 raids and at least 4 to 5 dungeons every season. New PvP content. I don't know if that means maps and modes or just maybe new cosmetics to chase, but that's cool. If every 3 months we have that kind of turnaround, or 4 months, I mean, that's a really good cadence and a cycle to decide if you want to jump in for that season. At the end of the day, we still have a lot of questions about this game. First and foremost, when is it launching? Depending on how polished these betas are, I think it could actually be a 2023, maybe holiday launch. I would not be surprised if that's the case. If they can have, you know, 2 or 3 closed betas, a winter release could be on the cards, but maybe more likely a 2024 release. We know MMOs these days, and we're kind of getting used to delays. There's a lot of question marks about the launch, but I do think it's close. From the footage I've seen, the game looks pretty polished. I think they're in the home stretch on getting this game ready to go. Obviously, still question marks about monetization. Will it be a sub game, a free-to-play game, a buy-to-play game, buy it once and then own it? We're not really sure about that, but just from the initial footage we have, this game looks beautiful. The graphics look great. The boomer in me likes to see the Holy Trinity with the tab targeting, quests, dungeons, raids, PvP, and the seasonal model. That's really the question mark. Like, will the seasonal model be fun? Can I just jump in worry-free and buy this season and play it and have fun and then put it down when I want? Maybe I'm like you. My biggest struggle is getting my friends all in the same MMO to play. And so hopefully this will break down some of those barriers. That's usually what I'm chasing anyway at this point in my MMO life. So let me know about you in the comments. Also, I want you guys to go over to my Bad Cuz Dad Plays channel. That's where I will be streaming. Go subscribe over there and you'll be notified as soon as I go live, hopefully on Tuesday. And yeah, let's just check it out. Let's see if this game has potential. And if it doesn't, then we'll be on to the next one as usual. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more from Tarisland, because I have a whole slate of videos in the works, especially as I get into the closed beta. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.